Hi, welcome back to my little video series about jazz harmony from the ground up. In the last video, we talked about finding basic sevenths. We talked about major seven, talked about dominant seven, minor seven flat five, or half diminished seven, and fully diminished seven. Today, we're going to talk about we're going to answer the question, what is an extension? An extension is basically when you have a color note that is happening above the seven. So essentially what extension is referring to is nines, 11s, and 13s. 9s, 11s, and 13s. So in the key of C, if we were to discuss the key of C as scale degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This could be 1 again, and we could restart the cycle. If we wanted to acknowledge that this note was happening above the 7, we could call it 8, and then call this 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So in other words, the interval of a third and the interval of a tenth are two different things, right? A tenth is an octave higher than a third. So an extension is some form of 9, 11, and 13. So if I were to just stack this chord up, this major 7 chord, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, then I'd have all the possible extensions on a C major 7 chord. These are all the possible extensions. We have a 9, an 11, and a 13. Now, one thing to note about this is that not every chord has the same possible extensions. For instance, on a C major 7, the natural 11, the F, creates a dissonance with the third. For this reason, it's extremely rare to see a natural 11 on a C major 7. It almost never happens, except in, maybe some really, really specific instances where someone wants a tense sound. It's extremely rare. What happens instead is the 11 is either omitted to create a C major 13, or it's sharpened to create a C major 7 sharp 11. So in this case, we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, sharp 11, 13. Or we omit the 11 entirely and just do a 9 and a 13. And these are the possible extensions on a major 7 chord. So an extension is some sort of 9, 11, or 13, or any alteration therefrom. So for example, on a dominant 7 chord, where we have 1, 3, 5, flat 7, we can add a 9. The 11, once again, creates that conflict with the 3. It creates a minor 9 interval, which is considered quite dissonant. So people generally avoid it, right? There's no rules in chord voicing. There's no rules in playing chords and what extensions you choose, but there are conventions, and it would be very unconventional to include this natural 11 on a dominant 7. So we have a 9. Once again, that sharp 11 works, and the 13 once again. So this would be a C13. Dominant 7s are special because the 9 is movable. So the flat 9 and the sharp 9 also work. So there's a dominant 7 flat 9, dominant 7 sharp 9, dominant 9, the 5 as well. The flat 5 is also an option. And then any combination of them from there. So for instance, here would be a dominant 7, flat 9, sharp 11, sharp 5. Right? And the sharp 5 is just another way of saying flat 13. Right? And we can also omit the 5th if we want to. We don't need to have the natural 5 in the chord. We're gonna get to that later. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that in a later video. But we're gonna get to that later. This is just basically what an extension is and what extensions we can use on each chord. So on the dominant 7, we can use the 9, the flat 9, or the sharp 9. We can use the sharp 11. We can use the natural 13. We can use the natural 13 or the flat 13. All of those options are available on a dominant 7, or all of them at once. I mean, it's rare to see the 9. It's rare to see a flat 9 and a natural 9, and it's rare to see a sharp 9 and a natural 9. In other words, it's rare to see an altered scale degree, an altered 9. Altered meaning it's either flattened or sharpened. It's rare to see an altered scale degree and its natural counterpart played at the same time. Likewise, it would be unusual to see an A and a G sharp on a C7 as an extension. It would be unusual to see the 13 and the flat 13. Possible, but it would just be unusual, right? Again, no rules, only conventions. So those are all the possibilities on a dominant 7. On a minor 7, the natural 9, the natural 11, and the natural 13 are all conventional. The natural 11 now doesn't create this flat 9 because now we have a flat 3, which means this is a natural 9, which is considered much more of a consonant interval. So here we have the 9, the 11, and the 13. On a minor 7 flat 5, it's exactly the same. It's considered exactly the same. So on a minor 7 flat 5, it literally is just a minor 7 chord, and we can treat it the same way and use the same extensions, but it has a flat 5, obviously. Diminished sevens. Diminished sevens are a little trickier to navigate. Essentially, the extensions on a diminished 7 are the notes. The possible extensions or the possible color tones to add on a diminished 7 are the notes contained in a diminished 7 a whole step up. So if we have a C diminished 7, the notes of D diminished 7 are considered conventional and interesting extensions. So if I played a C diminished 7 with a 9, or with a 9 and an 11, or with this, all of these things are considered typical extensions. We can get more into diminished 7 later. It's rarer to see them. It's much more common to see major 7, dominant 7, minor 7 flat 5. Occasionally you do get a diminished 7. In that case, it's popular to add, for instance, things like, and again, we can get more into it later, but things like subbing out the 7 for a major 7 are common. Things like that, diminished major 7, and then 9s, natural 9s. Any note from the diminished 7 chord a whole step up. But we'll get more to that later. So, just to clarify, or to summarize, all the possible extensions on a major 7 are 9, sharp 11, and 13. All the possible extensions on a dominant 7 are 9, flat 9 or sharp 9, sharp 11, and then 13 or flat 13. Dominant 7 has a great number of possible extensions. On a minor 7 and minor 7 flat 5, we have 9, natural 11, natural 13. Those are all the possible extensions on these chords. It's really rare when you see a C major 13, for instance, on a chart that someone has given you. Someone's written a tune, they give you a chart, has a C major 13 on it. It's very rare to play something like this. Usually we rearrange the notes so that things are a little lighter, more buoyant, more agile, and that's what's called a voicing. And I'm going to go over what a voicing is and how to possibly construct voicings in the next few videos. So good luck. Happy practicing. See you.